CloudSpeed is your gateway to AI and the cloud. Get up to date with recent trends in cloud computing and AI. So, if you've tried requesting access to a GPU-enabled EC2 instance in AWS and you couldn't create one, maybe you saw an error like vCPU capacity for your account, then yeah, it's most likely because your account hasn't been granted access to use GPU-enabled instances. AWS restricts access to those instances to prevent you from accidentally spinning one up. And trust me, they can cost a lot. To have access to them, you simply request it from AWS. Alright, so let's quickly try to create an EC2 instance with a GPU. We'll name it CloudSpeed. Let's select an instance type. We're going with G4 DN.8 extra large. Wow, that's bold. It has 32 virtual CPUs and over 128 gigabytes of memory. Yeah, it's massive. It also costs a ton of money to run. But just to test if it works, we'll delete it right after. Now, quick tip. When you request a quota increase, you have to specify the capacity you need, which is measured in vCPUs. So if the instance fails to launch, it means we'll probably need to request a capacity of 32 vCPUs to use this type. Next, we'll create a key pair and name it CloudSpeed. That gets downloaded automatically to our machine. For the security group, let's select both HTTPS and SSH access. Actually, let's just go with all three options. We'll use an EBS volume of 100 gigabytes, just so it fits the large instance type. Make sure to double-check everything on the page. You don't want to miss anything. And make sure you're only creating one instance. Alright, let's go ahead and create it. I'll skip the setup steps and jump to the result. So, as you can see, our instance failed. It failed because of the vCPU capacity. We have 0 vCPUs available for this instance type, but we tried to launch one with 128 vCPUs. At this point, you've got a few options. You can edit the config, maybe change the instance type or other details. That might help. Or you can retry the request. But honestly, it'll still fail. You could also use Amazon Q. It might give you more insight into why the request failed. Or, well, it might just confuse you more. But here's the deal. You don't actually need to do any of those. The request failed because the capacity for G-type instances, whether spot or on demand, is set to 0 by default when you create an AWS account. And to increase your capacity, you just make a request to AWS Support. Alright, so now let's check out the G5 instance type, since that's what we'll mostly be using. As you can see, the G5 is a GPU-enabled EC2 instance. It can come with up to 8 powerful NVIDIA GPUs, like the A10 or A100 models. It's ideal for things like video processing or running machine learning workloads, exactly what we're doing here. Okay now, head over to the AWS Service Quotas page. This is where you can see all your quotas across AWS services. Search for and select EC2 instances. Now, as you can see here, for G-type EC2 instances, both on-demand and spot, you'll see your current quotas. For spot instances, I already have access to 4 vCPUs. I requested those a few weeks back. Now let's check the on-demand quota. Search for G and V1 instances. There it is. You'll notice, spot instance quota is 4 vCPUs, but on demand, still at 0. Click on it to view more details. At the top, you'll see a Request Quota Increase button. Go ahead and click that. Let's request an increase to 30 vCPUs. Just a tip, don't request more than you actually need. These limits are in place for a reason. Click Submit. Alright, request submitted successfully. Now let's check the request under AWS Support cases. Here it is. I already received an automated reply. It says the request will be forwarded to the appropriate team, usually takes a couple of days to get approved. So to save time, you can go ahead and reply to the case with a quick explanation of why you need the increase, because they'll probably ask anyway. You can even give the response a 5-star review just to be nice. Click Reply. Here's what I'll say in my case. Hello, thanks for the update. I just want to quickly state the reason for this quota increase. I don't plan to run any long-term workloads on this instance. I'm currently creating demonstration videos for a tutorial course. I want to show how to deploy an LLM model on a GPU-enabled EC2 instance, just for demo purposes. Once that's done, I'll delete the instance right away. Thanks again, and that's it. Make sure to go through your message. Check for typos, keep it simple and clear. All right, this is the quota page. Now go ahead and select the EC2 service, and let's check our available quota for G-type EC2 instances. Awesome, we've got 32 vCPUs now. That's just 2 more than what we actually requested. It did take a while though, about 6 days for the request to be approved, but there wasn't much back and forth messaging, pretty smooth overall. Now, just a quick heads up, quota increases are region specific. So if you try to launch a G5 instance in another region, yeah, it's still gonna fail unless you request an increase there too. All right, now let's try starting a G-type on-demand instance and see if it works. Just like before, we'll go through the usual setup. Let's pick the G5, extra large instance. That's 4 vCPUs and 16 gigabytes of memory, so well within our quota. Select the CloudSpeed key pair and move on. No need to mess with the key pairs, security groups, or EBS volume. We'll just use the defaults. Cool, so let's create the instance, and we need to fast forward a bit. Boom, it works. Let's take a quick look at the instance just to confirm. And now let's go ahead and delete it so we don't rack up extra charges. But note, you'll be charged for at least 1 full hour, even if the instance only ran for 5 minutes. So just keep that in mind. And that's how you request and confirm an EC2 quota increase, whether for G-type or any other GPU-enabled instance type. CloudSpeed is your gateway to AI and the cloud. We make videos showing you the latest in tech, and we break down the real-world use cases. If you found this helpful, hit that subscribe button and tap the bell icon so you don't miss any updates. Thanks for watching.